Let's go!
Hey everybody, welcome to RefTime, sponsored by Ref Training School and Hoosier 3-on-3. This is Tanya.
And you've got Crane here. We'll be covering rules, plays, points of emphasis, and all things official, not too serious, in a fun sort of way. So come join us. Good afternoon. Welcome to another segment of RefTime. We got a fun crew with us tonight. You're going to like these guys. Let me make my introductions. First of all, to my immediate left, to your far right, not far right, but you're right, you know what I'm saying. Okay, we got the great, the one, the only, he's out of the Huntington area, Mr. Steve Godfrey. I always wonder, is it Godfrey or Godfrey?
Godfrey is supposed to be.
But everybody calls you Godfrey.
Yes.
That always messed with me. I was like, that is not Godfrey.
Yeah, sort of slang or what you allow over the years.
People just slanged your name.
Yeah.
All right, next to him, I'll tell you guys what they are in a minute. But next to him, we got another great, wonderful Steve Yoder. I'm not done. I'm not done. There we go. You were accepting your
absolutely.
You accepted it too early. I was still singing the earth.
You were like yodeling, you know. Gotcha.
Now you know what gets me is both of you are Steve.
Yeah.
Now, but you call yourself Steven.
Generally, yes.
Okay.
A lot of officiating people know me as Steve. My family, the ones I'm close to, usually will call me Steven.
When you were a kid, was a little Stevie?
When I was a kid, it was get your butt over here. So, you know.
You come from the same era I did.
Yes.
So,
and if you're at a lot of the schools that we go to, it's Steve squared.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Double Steve.
Yep.
And everybody, you got to check these shirts out. You sit up so they can see the shirts.
Yeah.
They got their big old faces on the shirts.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about how you guys got those. But on the back, you guys can't see it now. We'll show you before the show's over. But on the back, got Big Poppa. I guess that's him. And his protege down there.
That's me.
So tell us a story. How did these shirts come about? You were telling us before the show. Tell us how these shirts got born.
We started full-time umpiring softball games together about 3-4 years ago. And our last game of the season, we were at Bremen. And after the game, and Steve comes up and says, hey, we need to get a picture. So he takes a picture of us. And about a week or two later, it shows up on Facebook. And his wife had a comment and certain comments and everything like that, and how much time we spend together, and you know how well we work together and things like that. And then at the banquet that year, somehow these shirts pop up.
Yeah. You know, I mean, he left out that it was a long, wet night at Bremen. It was a doubleheader. It was raining. It just was a long night, and I kind of, you know, I had no intention, you know, I don't do the Facebook myself. I have no intentions of the Facebook thing. I just wanted it as a memory because we had just started working together full time, and so I really wanted to you know,
Commemorate it.
Yeah, I really did. So then in my head, I had it all along that I was going to make a shirt for him. But then my wife took it, you know, the step further, and then on the Facebook, you know, there was so many comments, and then we did the shirts, and honestly, it's kind of taken off. I mean, you guys have seen at the banquets, now other people want the shirts, and so we take a lot of pride in the shirts. You know, these are the originals. Nobody else has the saying that's on the back.
Big Poppa and His Protege.
Big
I don't think very many of others can fit into that. It's pretty unique.
So now it's been raffle prizes. It's been, you know, just something that people have bought on their own because, you know, they want the Steve shirt.
Well, now, it does have you listed as the protege, so obviously that means that somehow or another, Mr. Godfrey got you involved in officiating.
Yeah, so I will say, you know, I'm 49 years old now. When I was 13, I was at a ball diamond, and one of his old partners, Bob Marlowe, had asked me if I wanted to officiate umpire some girls softball at that time.
At 13.
At 13, yeah. So I said, why not? And I gave it a try, and I loved it. And of course, I'm 13 years old, and you're giving me $10 or whatever. So I'm like, this is great. So then from there, I kind of did some baseball, did some more softball, and then as I got a little bit older, I didn't really play too much myself. But I remember when I was 17, I was playing some slow pitch, and I had run into Steve, and he says, you know, you should come do some umpire for us. You know, they were, if I remember, they were hurting for some umpires at the time. And so that's kind of where I got my start with Steve-O. And
Wait. Did I just hear Steve-O?
yeah, I have all kinds of names for him.
Yeah,
I'm going to keep it clean.
First time I've heard that one.
You know,
You say you gotta keep it clean on the
I
show.
will keep it clean
We
today.
appreciate that.
You know, so then I started doing some slow pitch, and then he got me into, you know, doing some statewide slow pitch stuff. Then I kind of fell off as far as doing the statewide stuff, and I never really got into the high school aspect of it. Well, then he kind of stepped out of the slow pitch realm. I worked at the Parks Department, so, you know, we were kind of taking it over as far as in town. And I don't really remember how it came up, but I contacted Steve, and he kind of veered me towards doing some basketball. So honestly, when I started doing basketball, I started doing baseball in the high school levels myself. And, you know, I would always hear these fun stories of softball. So, you know, I said, you know what, I would love to work with Steve, but you guys know how it is. You know, you don't work with, you know, with all the assigning and stuff. You don't necessarily get to work with the people you want to work with. But we had some, you know, opportunities, and so then it kind of came down to, you know what, if I'm going to continue this, I want to work with somebody I enjoy working with. I don't have to do this. And so then it kind of picked up steam. Then he conned me into doing some volleyball, and now the last couple years of his basketball career, we've actually got to work together more often. And so for me personally, that's kind of my story, is just doing what I love, which obviously if I'm starting at 13 years old, you know, I kind of had a niche for it, and here we are.
So is your favorite sport still to officiate still softball?
It is, yes, it is.
Because
you know,
really basketball is the best sport. I'm just going to throw that out.
You know, I love basketball. But you know how it is. I mean, you know, you just enjoy different aspects of each sport. And I think because I always get to work with Steve-O, you know, I think that I've learned so much from him, and how to act and how to handle myself, and you know, as Crane kind of pointed out earlier, you know, I am kind of a smart aleck sometimes, but you know, Steve has kind of reeled me in, and I contain some of that when the time comes.
Now I just got to get the other side of this. Have you really reeled him in, do you think?
I've gotten him there on time now. When we first started doing softball, he's young and that, and he would show up, you know, maybe a half hour before the game and get dressed and ready to go. And it's like, I'm not that young anymore. I got to take me a little time. And so I've got him now in the habit that we're there 45 minutes early for softball. And our thing is, if you can't be on time, be early.
So Steve, Steve-O, would you say that your favorite sport to officiate is softball?
No.
Okay, what's your favorite?
Over the years and that, it's been basketball.
Okay.
You know, there's more action and everything. And, you know, I've done it for so long. I'm starting my 50th year for high school basketball.
50th, like 5-0?
5-0.
5-0, like Steve-O.
Yeah.
Wow, 50 years.
So, you know, I've really enjoyed the basketball and that because, you know, the crowds are into it and different things. And I had a partner that I worked with a long time in that before he moved away. So, you know, that sort of was nice too because we were working together like I've done in softball and volleyball. But I've had more success in softball.
Meaning,
as far as advancing.
So I got to write these down. So Steve O, you have done how many years? I got to write all these. How many years have you done softball?
Ever since it started.
So it is at, because 50 years for
39
basketball,
or
right?
so.
39?
I think is how much. 39th year
For softball?
softball.
Yeah,
I think is what it is.
39. And basketball's been 50.
Yep.
You do baseball too?
I did baseball until I moved over to softball.
How long did you do baseball?
Oh, probably about 10 years or so.
And then the other
And I
volleyball.
had one sectional, and you'll remember these names. At the time, you had to do 12 baseball games to be eligible for the sectional, but only 5 softball, because softball was just starting and not that many schools had it. And I had a job that I couldn't get away during the week, so the one year I had 6 doubleheaders on Saturdays, so I qualified for the tournament. I did my one sectional, and I was with Judson Raver
Oh,
wow.
remember Judd?
and Tommy Knox.
Oh, yeah,
wow.
you went.
Two legends.
Yeah, both
Yeah.
of them have passed away, haven't they?
Yes.
Yeah, wow. I remember Judd Raver. Oh, Judd did not play. When
Well,
he rep
I
basketball.
didn't get to meet Judd until he moved back, and then he started doing the games again, like out at Spiece and Sport
yeah.
One. When he started reffing out there, that's when I met Judd. But he was always a hoot to be
Yes.
working with.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he'd come in and he'd be like, "Okay, let's go.
Yeah, let's
let's
go.
Let's get it going."
We didn't have no time for that. Get out of there.
You know, a game that's
Yeah.
supposed to take you an hour, it'd be 45 minutes.
Oh,
you know, he'd be getting it done.
You know who reminds me of him? Is Eddie Eccles.
Okay.
Eddie
I don't
Eccles.
think Eddie is as demonstrative about it. Like
Eddie
Judd
is
would,
pretty fast
Judd
too.
would get an attitude if like the scorekeeper left for a minute to go to the bathroom. He'd be like, somebody needs to get over here.
That is true. Yeah, that's old Judd Raver. You reached back in time on those names. And Tommy Knox.
Yep.
Wow.
Wish we could have had them on the show.
Because I think Tommy did football too, didn't he?
He did
football.
football and baseball
And
and basketball. And I think he worked in the ABA for a few years.
He did. He did. He was a professional. And so between you guys, you've done 4 sports: softball, basketball, baseball, and volleyball.
Yes.
How long have you done volleyball?
Probably 25 years.
Wow.
That's about right.
And then Steve Venn.
And the thing was, when I started that, the assistant AD at Huntington North was after me for about 3 or 4 years to get my license because he couldn't get people to do the freshman matches. And I'm like, I don't know anything about volleyball. So I got my license, and because all the ADs did their own hiring at that time, and so they saw I had my license. My very first year, I had like 25 varsity matches. And I'm like, I don't know anything about volleyball. You just be the down official.
Yeah.
But you know, being the down official is actually
It's
pretty
pretty
hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an easy job.
No.
You know, everybody thinks being up is the hardest job, but you know, I mean, if you don't know how to keep the score or you know how to look at the scorebook, if they have
Yep.
questions about rotation it can be very challenging to be the down official. And then on top of it, you're next to the coaches, so you get all the
Yes.
flack.
Yeah.
And you're very right. A lot of people think being a down official is the easiest spot.
Yeah.
It's not. When she was training me, and I have to say she drugged me into volleyball. Oh my goodness. That's a story. And she's been training me over the years, and it's been interesting because when we work together, she'll say, "You want to go up or down?" And I'm thinking, I really want to go up because I know I don't have to do as much over there. Oh, whatever you want to do, dear. And she goes, well, you tell me. No, whatever you want to do. And she'll go, well, I'll go up this time. I'm like, dang.
Well, that's good to know. See, you could have just told me that before, because I would have just thrown you on up
well, that's the way it used to be. Now I'm much more comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about, you guys know, in officiating, the more you do something, even if you go into it and you don't really know what you're doing, the more you do it, the more you learn.
And the more you're comfortable in it.
Yeah, and the coaches, it's trial by fire sometimes, but some coaches really know the rules and they know what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. So if they're yelling at you, if they're intelligent, you'll listen to them and then you'll learn from that.
Well, on top of that, I feel like the experience we've had in other sports has helped us in the sports where we're not as strong.
That's true.
You know, being able to handle a coach or a fan or the way a player will approach you sometimes. So,
well, the one thing I noticed about volleyball was that because you have to be so patient in blowing your whistle when you're the up official, because these kids will track that ball down where you think, oh, there's
Yes.
no way they're going to get there.
Next thing you know, she's
and
bumped it up.
they've kicked it or they've dove on the floor and they've managed to get it up somehow. And if you blow your whistle and interrupt that,
Yeah.
you got to start, you got to do a replay, and
Yeah.
everybody's going to be mad at you.
Yep.
So you have to be very patient in blowing your whistle. And I think that has transitioned for me into basketball, where I am more patient. I try to let the play develop before I, blow a foul or whatever. Make sure, did the player, okay, they got a little bump, but they were able to get to the basket and score. Let's keep playing, because kids don't really want us to blow the whistle and interrupt the game. They might be and ones and all that stuff, but
Or
really
if
they
they're
want
tired,
to play.
If they're tired, they
Yeah.
don't want you to stop
I'm
it.
sure they do.
But if they're tired, I'm probably tired, so,
But that's a good point about patience, because that's the one we were talking about it before the show. I don't have a lot of patience with coaches yelling at me.
Yeah.
I've gotten older now. I'm like, dude, you don't have to act like that. Just
Right.
do your job over there. And they think sometimes doing their job, especially the younger coaches, they think part of their job is to make sure we're doing what we're supposed to. No, that is not your job.
No.
So volleyball has put some patience in me, because they call that the civilized sport.
Yeah.
That's
But
what
it
I've
also
been
has
told.
not. It's also taken some of the
That's
patience away
true.
from you,
That's
because
true.
in doing volleyball, the coaches are supposed to send their captains to us.
Correct.
And that's how we're supposed to communicate via their captain. The coach should not be yelling at me across the court.
And that's part of what makes it civilized.
Yes. And so to transition that
Very
into
good point.
basketball, we're right next to the coaches
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
So they feel I can just yell at you. I can tell you that you missed that and you did this and you did that.
I don't have a lot of tolerance for that.
Yeah. And he gets very irritated, because it's like, they don't act like that in other sports. Why do they need to act like it in this sport?
And as far as officiating goes, I was born into officiating through basketball.
Right.
So when she drugged me into volleyball, I'm looking at
I
these.
feel like you really want to hit, like you need to get something off your chest.
I know, that's kind of.
I mean,
feeling uncomfortable. Do we
it's-
need
it's
to
a little tense in here, isn't it?
get some candles and
Yeah.
have a moment?
Woo
here?
side, talk it
Yeah.
out.
have a seance or something.
Yeah, let's just get this
Well,
worked out tonight, guys.
she encouraged me strongly to get into volleyball, and
Our
I
daughter
love it
says
now.
the same thing.
But we love it now. As a family, we love both sports. But she's right. It's doing volleyball has made me realize how people should act. So when I get back into basketball, and these people are yelling at me, I'm standing right here. Why are you yelling at me? I said, Tweed, stop the game. Stop yelling. What are you trying? Stop. What are you trying to say? You feel like that, don't you?
Growing up
Absolutely.
in basketball more, and coaches like that, you move to volleyball, and it's like, God, these coaches are great, because
Yes.
they may say, they may put,
Yeah.
that they wanted a double,
They wanted a double.
or they wanted a lift or something like that, but they're not sitting there yelling at you.
Right.
It's like, oh,
But even that, that can get
That can get annoying.
That can get
Yeah.
a penalty as well.
Because they just stand up their whole time.
Yeah.
Now they won't be able to do that.
Well,
The
they
rules
will.
changed.
Oh no, they can still do it if it's sent over.
Yeah, but you won't see it as much because the rules changed.
As much, right?
Steven, let's drill him with some volleyball rules right now. He has that look on his face like he needs to be tested.
Oh.
So we don't have any written out rules because my partner forgot to bring them.
We can
So
just
anyway,
talk about the new rules for the year. How about that?
she's the expert. so
Let's talk about the new rules, please. Thank you. Yes, let's.
get him, Tanya.
So our first new rule, that top of my head, when we're talking about doubles, is that we are now told not to call the double on the second hit.
Don't tell him. Test him.
No,
I'm not testing him.
Test him.
please keep going.
He wants some candy, and the only way he's going to get it is he got to pass the test.
Okay. So if we're not supposed to call that, at what point do we call it?
Oh, great question. You should know. You at the meeting. You missed the meeting. You won't know.
Yeah, I won't know, but I will give my best educated
we talked about it on the
answer.
way here.
Will be when the ball goes over the net, unless it is, or even if it's blocked. If you feel it was going to go over the net, then you would call the double. Right?
I don't know about that one.
No,
Not if-
I didn't say I agree with
You said if you feel it's going
Yeah,
to be blocked. What do you mean?
not
No,
the
no. If it does get blocked.
Yeah,
then
if it
you
gets
feel it's
blocked,
gonna-
regardless of whether it was going over or not. If it gets blocked, it's still a double.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
There you go.
because when you said that part, I was thinking if she goes up to block it, or he, and it misses their hand, then there's no touch. Well,
But if
no.
it went over the net,
it goes
it was
over
a
the net,
double.
yeah, it'd still be a double.
It's still a
Yeah.
double.
Right.
Yeah, and
So-
and it's also still a double if it's on that third and they throw it over. You know how the kids like to come up there and they like to just toss it, catch and throw. I mean, catch
Well,
and
you
throw is
call,
more
you
of a
call
lift,
that a
but,
double anyway.
but that's what I'm saying. We still call it on the third hit as well.
As it's going over.
Yeah.
Or
So.
if it's going
You didn't get that. You didn't. Did he pass the test?
Yeah, he passed the test.
All right, you get some.
Yeah.
You can get some candy.
All right. I'm going to take me
All
some
right, so we
peanuts
have-
for the
I
ride
I think he
home.
took the one you wanted.
We have the new libero. What's the word I want to use? Where the libero exchange rule. So if the libero comes in after I have blown for serve, what is that?
I'm going to say that is a delayed yellow card after play's done.
Unnecessary delay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Did you know
then
that? Did you know that
If
answer?
it's
Yeah,
also,
I told him on the
then
way.
Okay.
the whistle is, for the service happened, then it's out of rotation.
Yes.
If it's if
Not-
she comes
not
on
before.
after
Before
the
the serve.
contact.
After the contact.
After
I'm
the
sorry.
contact, then
Yeah.
it's
I'm
then
sorry.
it's out of rotation. Yeah.
Which is, yeah, like you were saying at the meeting the other night,
I
that's
don't know
very
that I
rare.
have ever
Yeah.
seen a girl
And
come in
that's-
after the
After
serve.
the whistle's
Yeah.
blown.
That's exactly
Or
what
after
I
the
said.
contact.
I've had players come in after I've blown the
Well,
whistle.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But after the contact,
But
very,
after the
very,
contact,
very seldom.
I don't think I've ever seen a girl do that.
That would be weird to see that.
Yeah.
Because what are your servers running? Well, it could all be on the opposite side though too, I guess.
And like you said, if the down official should see that
On the
because
receiving side,
they're
yes.
supposed to
but
be
then you
watching
have
that.
to remember that they do it on the offensive side though too. I mean, I've seen them where I've called for serve,
and the libero runs in.
and the libero runs in because they realize, oh, I was supposed to be,
Oh, yeah.
I'm supposed to be in the back, and that girl's
but
supposed
not
to be
after
out.
the contact.
But not after the
I've
contact.
never seen that.
Yeah.
I can't say I have. What's the weirdest thing you guys have seen in softball so far?
Wow.
The weirdest thing.
Yeah.
You got a lot of years to go back and think about that.
And it may be you seen something different.
Yeah. The weirdest thing. I mean, define weird. I mean, what you feel is weird while you're watching a game, we may think is
True.
just normal.
But from your perspective as an official, especially being the protege,
Yeah.
what's the weirdest thing you've seen as a protege?
Wow.
And how
So,
long?
wait, so I was watching a clip the other day on softball, and by no means I know none of the rules in softball. So the girl ran, so you've got the white plate at first, and then they had a different color on the outside of it, right?
Which we don't have in high school.
Okay.
The white plate.
We don't have the orange double base.
Yeah,
At
for
first.
first base, they had the white base, and then they had an outside different color base. So
didn't
if
know
I'm
that.
running to first base, I'm probably supposed to take that
Orange.
color,
Yeah.
not the white, because that's supposed to be a safety thing. So
I
the
never
girl,
noticed that.
so they called her out, but then they didn't. I can't even remember. Anyway, she came back, and the girl tagged her or something. And initially the official called out, but then she called her safe. And I was
It was the
confused.
opposite. They called her safe and then called her out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me
So
take
what
a
did-
guess at why. Because I've seen this in baseball. It depends on which way you turn.
No,
Okay.
not in that situation.
Okay.
But that is a factor, right? If you turn the wrong way, they can tag you.
When you
If you make an attempt
Yeah.
to go to the next base.
No, I'm talking about when they turn to come back. I thought if I'm
You can-
rounding the base,
I was always told when you're running to first to run to the right, not on the field, unless you know you're going to go, I guess. But if you're just running to get to first base,
oh, I
you
see
go
what
to
you're
the
saying.
right.
You run off to the right, because
Yeah.
if you run onto the
Yeah.
left, then that's considered
An
an
attempt.
attempt.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can turn to the left if you make no attempt or
No attempt to go to second.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's not a penalty or it's not something that somebody can tag you, to get the out. Now they'll argue, that she was making the attempt.
Yeah,
but
right.
You guys know it's
It's
all
judgment.
the umpire's judgment at that point. So
So you were going to answer her.
Oh, and that was the Little League World Series in the regional
Okay.
plays. And I think what it was she came back to the orange, and the orange bag is only in play on your way through the base.
Okay.
But see,
So
we
she
don't-
should have come back and touched the white
white one,
base.
yeah.
Okay.
But in high school and college, we don't use a double base.
Okay.
So I mean, that's sort of
In Indiana.
in Indiana.
So what level were you watching, Tanya?
I don't remember. I
that was
just know
12
it
and
was
that
just
was
it was
12,
just
yeah.
girls.
Yeah,
I
Cin-
just
Cindy Bice was on that game.
Yeah.
was she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that was the World Series?
That was the regionals.
Those are regionals.
Where was it at?
Whitestown,
Yeah.
Indiana.
And this was softball.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Does Cindy also do baseball?
Softball.
She doesn't do
She
baseball?
does.
No.
So that's one thing about me and Tanya. Y'all, something wrong with you guys to do outdoor sports.
Yeah.
You mentioned the game you were doing. You said it was wet and what else?
It was drizzling.
I was wet.
Yeah.
I mean, look at my hair. Look at my hair on your head or on your chest.
He says he was not drizzling.
Yeah.
It was raining.
It was raining. You know, I mean,
Are you guys outdoor people? You like outdoors?
Yeah.
I personally do. My job, you know, that's kind of what I've always done has been
Okay.
outside. So
That
it's
explains
okay
it.
for me. I am like, and I know he's going to bring this up. I am a very cold-blooded person, though, and so you know, we'll go to the game, and Steve's very old school. We have to match no matter what. And this guy
Professional.
here, yeah. So like, it doesn't matter, you know, if it's 65 degrees, I probably have a jacket on. So this poor man, he'll
And
have
two
his
pairs of
jacket
long
on.
johns.
And two pair. You can't see that though. So
So he's not required to wear long johns.
yeah, so
Well,
he's not
if it
required.
makes you feel any better, Cindy makes fun of me because, like, when we do volleyball tournaments at the Coliseum or whatever, it's so cold in there. I'll have layers on, and she's like, "Oh, where's your earmuffs?" Like,
And she
don't
just
tempt
does.
me.
Cindy just doesn't know she would wear
Give
them.
me those
tempt me.
earmuffs. I'll
I've
take
worked
them.
with her and she's worn earmuffs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's a thing. I'll never forget. I'll let Steve tell the story because I know he's chomping at the bit. The Garrett.
No. We're at Garrett one Saturday for a doubleheader. Garrett DeKalb. You know, sort of rivals. In the morning, and he goes, "That's chilly," and he wanted to wear jackets. And I'm on the plate the first game. By the second inning, the sun had come out, you know, and we've got our jackets on and everything. I'm sitting there just sweating to death the whole game.
First base, you could see sweat coming down.
You would not allow him to take his jacket off, Steve?
I mean, at that point, you know, he doesn't wear his softball shirt underneath it.
Oh.
So I do it just for an extra layer. But yeah, so like we couldn't take the jackets off.
Oh, wow.
You couldn't call a umpire timeout, and you know,
Run to the car and put your
Yeah.
shirt on.
But you're talking weather. I've had people ask me over the years, you know, do you do football? I said, no. I said, I'm smarter than that. I said, in volleyball and basketball, we're in the weather from the car to the gym.
Yeah.
that's
in
why I like
softball-
those sports.
The softball, if the weather's too bad, we just go home.
Yeah.
But in football, you're out in it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yep.
Soccer,
much
too.
so.
I think
I
soccer
don't
is the
know
same way.
because
Soccer, please.
our daughter decided to play softball her senior year. One of their first games was at Fremont. It was pouring,
Yes, it was.
literally pouring down rain, and
They
they
did not call it
they did
off.
not call it off. They played, and I was like, I'm pretty sure by rule they should have called that game. And we sat in the car.
Yes, we
I
did.
felt bad for those kids.
We were great parents because we were there.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
And the
could see
crazy
it.
thing is, so instead of making money, you know, officiating high school football, I usher at Notre Dame football, the home football games at Notre Dame. And for years, we never got paid. We just got, well, started off with $3 in concession coupons.
Wow.
But now we get 12.
I was gonna say
And we
$3.
get a little bit
I don't
of
even know
pay.
if you can get a bottle of water for $3.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you
it's
can't
never
get much
gotten
for
you
12.
a hot dog and a water. But you know,
my
I'm a
gosh.
huge Notre Dame fan, and so this
So
is
you got free tickets though.
Yeah.
You didn't have to pay
yeah.
since you were
So
ushering.
you know, this is 25 years that I have ushered at Notre Dame,
Hmm.
and the last few years then too, we've ushered a couple of the professional soccer matches that they've had
Oh, wow.
there in the summer, and got to usher the concerts.
So
I've
you guys
ushered-
do that together, too?
I know, I do
Okay.
not.
Okay. When you
So
were
I've
getting
ushered
into that?
Garth Brooks, both Garth Brooks concerts,
He's tried.
and Billy Joel, and then there's Keith Bryan, or it's not Luke Bryan, but it's someone else is the Saturday of Labor Day weekend,
Okay.
and then we have a concert and that the week before the first home football game.
You know, you mentioned the concerts, and she gave me a mean mug look. because Garth Brooks. That happened, what, 2 or 3, 4 years ago?
The second one. The first one was probably about 5 or 6 years
I
ago.
think that's the one. I had tickets for it. And I'm not, let me make sure everybody understands, I am not a good Garth Brooks fan, okay? And nothing against him, it's just that's just never something I followed.
We are also not up on Notre Dame information either.
Yeah, not at all.
So that's a thing. But
So she loves Garth Brooks music, okay? Country music fan right yonder. Okay. And I know this, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be a good husband. I'm gonna surprise her and take her to a Garth Brooks concert.
The first one?
First
Yes.
one, held at a stadium, I guess, in Notre Dame. I found out
we
as
thought the stadium was
indoors.
enclosed.
I thought it was indoors.
We did not, like I said, we do not know. We're not Notre Dame fans, so
Now, understand, her and I, as we officiate, I think we had a basketball game. Volleyball match.
Yeah, we were doing a volleyball match.
In South Bend area.
Yep.
And so we were going, and I had all this plan. I was like, okay, I'm going to take her out after the match, right? Worst snowstorm that ever hit the area.
Maybe it was basketball then.
I think
No,
it was
it
basketball.
was in October.
Okay.
So either way, I don't know what sport it was. Worst snowstorm ever.
Terrible. It was
Bad. You know, the first concert.
It was cold and windy.
It
and
was
that.
cold,
windy,
windy,
wet.
rainy.
And I already
sleet.
had a cold.
Yeah.
And
he
it
was
doesn't
sick.
take much for me to get a cold and go into bad sickness, okay?
Yeah. And we didn't
So-
have outdoor gear.
No, we didn't, because it
didn't
was
know.
when we
You
took
thought
off,
you was
everything
gonna
was
be
fine.
inside, yeah.
The weather was cool, it's fine. We get there, and I'm looking at this weather, and it's getting bad to worse, worse to bad, and starting over. And I'm going, this is not going to be good. Because I could end up I literally could end up in the
Yeah,
hospital.
he would have
so
ended up with pneumonia.
I really would have.
We ended up going to like Goodwill and we buying these jackets and stuff. And
Buying
we're like,
all
okay,
kinds
we're
of
gonna
stuff.
layer up.
It was
And
not
I mean,
enough.
it just kept getting worse and worse.
And
I
you
was
know,
like,
me going to Goodwill with all these arms trying to find something that fits,
Yeah.
not a good word. It just didn't work out.
and so we ended up, I was like, I can't do that. As much as I wanted to go to see Garth Brooks, I was like, I can't do it. And then to find out that they still had the stupid, I was so
I
mad.
thought they were going to cancel. And
I did.
let
They
us do
pushed it back a half hour.
Yeah.
But then, and it was like the parting of the Red Sea, and it, like right before he was going to actually start, then all the snow and everything stopped.
Yeah.
But I had 2 older ladies coming into my section and that with no jackets and that. And
Wow.
it was, this isn't indoors?
Yeah.
I'm like, no.
That's what I figured a concert, it's got to be indoors. I don't go to a lot of concerts, and I get there, and they're like, nope, outdoors. Like, this is not.
It was at the
well.
football stadium.
Oh,
Yeah.
But I heard it was a successful
I missed
concert.
that
Oh,
one, and then he came back again, and we missed that one too. So I've never seen Garth Brooks in concert.
I've been in
So
all
if
those.
anybody is wanting to be an usher at Notre Dame, we need ushers.
I do have another quick story. So the Purdue game a couple years ago, I went with another buddy of mine, and so I found Steve in his section, and we're down there talking. Well, Robert Vanderkoff from Bluffton seen us, so he comes down. So we get a picture with the 3 of us. Well, every time Steve and I go to Bluffton, Robert was, I need a Steve shirt, need a Steve shirt. So we ended up making him a Steve shirt from the Notre Dame Stadium when Steve's in his usher
So it was
outfit.
3 Steves.
Robert.
No, it's Robert.
Robert.
Yeah,
and
Robert.
2 Steves. Okay.
So yeah, it was, Robert's a great guy. So
Yeah, he is.
glad he's got a job that he's excited about now. And moving on. So.
You had to get him with some more questions.
Why don't you ask a question?
Because I want to get volleyball questions.
I-
We're going into volleyball season.
Yeah.
You got to get him ready.
I'm not worried. worried.
He's not ready.
I'm not worried.
He says he's not worried, but what he really says is I'm not ready. So give him some volleyball questions.
Let's move on to the next subject. Like you asked about the weirdest thing in softball. Steve, you've had time
Yeah,
to think.
you
You
had-
have
He don't want to answer
39
questions
years
is what it
of,
is.
39 years of softball.
with
You surely
Steven
have
over
a
here.
story.
The rapport that you have with coaches over the years. Steve Harp, he was an assistant coach a long time at DeKalb under Bill Jones, and then when Jones retired, he didn't get the baseball job, and he moved over and took the softball job. And got along with him great. He loved the Huntington umpires, the Lime City umpires. And a couple of stories with him. Now, one day we're there, I'm with Childers on a Saturday doubleheader, and it is so cold. And that second game, it's spitting snow. And I tell Harp, I said before the game, I said, I don't care what you say today, you cannot get thrown out. I said, if my butt has to be out in this all day, so does yours.
That's right. I like that. Oh, man.
I remember one year with him too, I was at DeKalb, and he comes out in between innings, and he says, do you want me to get the trainer over here? I said, no, why? He goes, well, I thought maybe your frickin' right arm was broke that you couldn't call a strike. Just the banter back and forth.
Right. See, I like the fun banter, but when they're doing it to be, facetious, that's not.
Well, but you know what? That reminds me of something that happened to me last year. I was doing a basketball game. I forgot where I was, out of town. I never remember where I am. And the coach, it was a girls' game, and I called something, and the home coach, he says, Crane! And I'm down, it's I think it was second half. I'm like, what do you want? And I go back and say, yeah, coach. He goes, you do this every time. And I go, what? He goes, every time you come here, you always do us like this. You call it against us every time like that. And I looked at him, and so I walked over to him. I said, I do this every time, coach? He goes, yes, it's just terrible. I said, and I made sure his assistant coaches could hear me. And I said, well, coach, if I do it every time and you keep bringing me back, what does that mean? And he goes, I don't know, but you're terrible. I said, I'm terrible. And I guess he thought I was going to get upset about that. I just looked at him and I said, well, coach, if I do it every time and I'm terrible, the one thing coaches always tell us they want is what? He goes, what are you talking about? I said, you guys always want consistency, right? And he goes, yes. I said, and I'm terrible every time I come, so I'm consistent. What else do you want? And his assistants just bust out laughing. He looks at me, he goes, get away from me. But you're right. I mean, the banter you can have with these coaches. And that's one time I did not get upset. I was calm, I was cool, I was collected. And I behaved like Steve.
Well, and you have fans too. Warsaw always had two guys, that would sit underneath a basket. And Schenkel and I would be there every year. We'd be the referee in there, and I'm underneath the basket. Godfrey, you got to help Schenkel out tonight. He's terrible. Schenkel would go underneath the basket. Schenkel, you got to help Godfrey out tonight. He's terrible. But the best one I ever heard was at Warsaw, but it wasn't these two guys. Someone from the crowd yelled at Schenkel and said, if you had one more eye, you'd be a Cyclops.
Oh.
I have, there's a couple guys at Norwell. My wife goes to a lot of games with me, and she's sitting up in the stands, and she just loves these two guys that sit there and constantly call her husband four eyes, and it's not enough eyes, and that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, fans come up with some unique stuff, as long as they're not being belligerent or anything, I can kind of take it.
Well, before I got into officiating, I would go to his games. And of course, our daughter was little at the time, and so we'd be sitting up in the stands, try to be away from everybody, But somehow people always tend to find you, or you can hear people.
Sure.
And of course, our daughter didn't know any better, and so she's like, Daddy, yelling out to him and everything, and I'm like, stop yelling. We're not yelling at Daddy right now. They don't like Daddy right now. But that was one of the things that. You would sit there and you would hear, and as a spouse, it's kind of like, you want me to talk about your kid like that? Because that's somebody's husband, that's somebody's child, that's somebody's brother.
Not as far as the fans are concerned.
I know, and they have no concept of that, and so then when they're, and then when you try to discipline their kid in some form or fashion, well, that's not correct. You can't do that. But you're yelling at my husband. You're telling him what he's doing wrong and how he needs to be better and get classes. And
I was pretty bad that night, though, I have to admit. Now, Stephen, let me get your numbers. Softball, how many years so far?
I think by IHSA standards, probably 12.
But you're adding the 13, or you're adding.
Since I was 13,
since you were 13,
it would be 36 years.
But licensed 13.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many for basketball?
Probably about the same, I would say.
And baseball?
Baseball, I kept it for 6 or 7. I no longer carry that, so I don't get asked.
And then what about volleyball?
Volleyball, I'm what, 5?
Probably, I'm gonna say probably 5 or 6, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're still a baby.
Yeah, you know.
So do you guys do any other sports besides those 4? Or have you done any other sports?
No.
No, not really.
I think between us, what have we done? Basketball,
3.
basketball, volleyball, and
And lacrosse.
lacrosse.
Yeah, we did girls lacrosse, not women's. Girls lacrosse for a few years, which was insanity.
But she's forgetting another one.
I'm not. Oh, it's still basketball. But
It's
yes,
wheelchair
we
basketball.
we do wheelchair basketball.
Yeah.
But that's a different sport, isn't it?
It is.
That's a
I
different
mean,
sport.
you know, it is, but it's
The
still
rules are
basketball.
completely different, and contact of the chair is an extension of the body, so that's what
And it's
you
not
have to
IHSA sanctioned thing.
Correct.
So,
Yeah. And you said you guys have done these, so you've worked all these sports together?
Now.
Lately, yeah.
Yeah. I've done all my volleyball. Since I started volleyball, I've always worked with Steve-O, but basketball has just really been the last couple years. And then softball has been, I want to say, the last 5 or 6 years solid.
So what do you guys do for a living? What's your daytime jobs?
I'm retired now, sort of.
I didn't know that.
I sell Medicare insurance, and
Oh, yeah.
so that's, sort of, it's not an 8 to 5 job, but
Okay.
it's when I need it
Okay.
or have an appointment, okay.
I am the park superintendent in Huntington.
Okay.
I've worked for the city for 20 years and love giving back to the community that I was born and raised in.
So what do your wives do?
My wife she's done different things over the years. She's did daycare in our home, raising our kids and that the way that she wanted them, brought them up, the way we wanted them brought up.
And how many kids do you have, Steve?
We have 4, and they're all spread out now.
Okay.
We have the son that used to be the athletic director at Bishop Lewis.
He's in Florida
He's
now.
in Orlando,
Oh,
and we just went and saw him this last weekend.
Is he still in education down there?
No, he's a recruiter for IT positions.
Okay.
I mean, he did help at Bishop Moore, like filming their football games. Then our other son's in Denver. He's an accountant at the Denver Zoo, and daughter that's a dentist in Milwaukee. And then our daughter in Connorsville. She's 35, last few years, and that went back to college, got her degree like in computer and that. And we're Miami Indian. And the tribe in Oklahoma is tied in with the Miami of Ohio. And they have what they call a heritage program that as long as your grades can get you into Miami, and that all you do is you only pay for room and board and books. You don't pay the admissions and that. So we've had 3 kids go through Miami. But she just graduated in December from Miami, and in January started working for the tribe.
Nice.
Running their computer stuff and that at the Miami of Ohio location.
Wow.
Now, in listening to all that, I got to admit, the one weirdest thing I heard was a son who's an accountant at a zoo. I never would put those 2 jobs. At a zoo, you're an accountant. Okay. I guess the zoo has a
have to
budget
have
too,
an
but
accountant.
yeah, but it just sounds, that was kind of different.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he's happy doing what he's doing.
Yeah,
And you say he's in Denver?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And the most surprised I've ever been was 2 years ago in softball. They worked the state finals.
Okay.
It
The
was
7th state finals, Mike.
Oh, congratulations.
thanks.
Yeah, you on top of it.
For real.
7 state finals.
Yeah, and Carmen Hawk, that when she first got into officiating, started out here in Huntington, and then her husband got a job down around Indy, and she's back around the Shelbyville area, and she was on working the state finals that same year. I was on the 3A, the second game on Friday, the 3A, and she was on the second game on Saturday on the 4A. So we were going to stay all night to watch both of them. About Wednesday, she sends me a text and says, "Would you like to meet for lunch before your game?" I said, "Sure." And she goes, "So we do, and we're going to meet at a sports bar right across the street from my hotel." And so I'm there early, and she goes, I text her, I say, hey, I'm early, just let me know. She goes, well, just come on over. So I go over, and it's real dark inside. I look one way and look another, and didn't see Carmen. I turned around, and there's my son from Orlando, gets up from the table and comes over and gives me a hug.
Oh, nice.
I mean, and I said, hey, I forgot my glasses because it's so dark in there. So I went out and got my glasses to read the menu. Come back in, sit down. A couple minutes later, here comes my son from Denver in. So now we're talking and everything like that. A couple minutes later, my daughter from Milwaukee's tapping me on the shoulder.
Oh, wow.
And my son from Orlando knew that I was eligible to work the state finals, and then talked to the other kids that if I did it, because I may not make it back at my age and that they were going to come home. My daughter from Connorsville couldn't make it. And so Kevin had called Carmen to set it up. She never did show up. But I know Steve knew about it. Cindy Bice knew about it. My wife knew about it. Just not me.
Well, that's what they call a surprise.
Yeah. And Carmen had talked to Carrie at the state and she had got the kids tickets for the weekend
Nice.
and that. So it was. I mean, I was, like I say, I've never been so surprised. All three of them coming from out of state for that.
Nice.
And
nice.
So it was a fun thing.
It's always nice when our kids come back and so do little surprises.
Yeah.
So, how about you? You guys have kids? And
Yeah, so my wife is a legal assistant at one of the attorney's office in Huntington, and we have 3 daughters and 3 grandboys, and now my wife's pretty much a, dog mom. So, yeah, we have 3 dogs, and everybody knows who our dogs are because they go a lot of places, and one of them is really big, and she gets a lot of attention. So.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
One of the things I wanted to, Steve, I was listening to you talk, and one thing I caught on, I don't think a lot of people realize just how many people you've mentored over the years. So I've got you obviously Stephen and Carmen.
I don't know that you would say mentor. I mean, I've been fortunate, especially in softball. 5 of my consistent partners have also worked the state finals.
That is rare.
Started off.
Did you recruit these people?
No, I mean, we were doing it at the same time. Bob Stambazzi was one, and then he got out, and then worked with Bob McLaughlin, and he worked the state finals. And then when Bob retired to go, he changed jobs and was driving bus and that. And then I started working with Mike West. He worked the state finals. And then Carmen, I wasn't working with Carmen when she worked the state finals and that, but she was sort of probably my first mentee, maybe, that you would call, because she was just starting out and, helping her in volleyball, or even helping her in volleyball. Can you imagine that? But, in basketball.
She's done a state final in volleyball.
She's done 2, I think.
2, okay.
She's
1 or
done
2.
basketball too.
She's done
She's
basketball.
done 2 in basketball and 2 in softball.
Okay, and 1 in volleyball.
1 or 2 in volleyball, I'm
Okay.
not sure.
So how many?
And then now Steve made it to the state
I was
finals.
going to say, I thought you had a monumental moment.
Yep.
So-
I just hit the state finals this year, actually.
For
so.
softball?
Yeah.
So how many different mentees would you say you've worked with? I know you don't call them mentees, but we do.
Yeah, I'm a mentee.
I would say 2. I mean,
Just these 2?
the thing, I mean, I don't know how you would consider it. I mean, a lot of people have come up to me over the years, and because I was president of Lime City Association for probably 30 years or more, and I was our basketball chair the whole time and softball chair the whole time. So I would run all the meetings and things like that. And so I don't know how many you would actually say were mentees. Maybe Carmen and Steve.
I think that, to kind of touch on your question there, so maybe not people that he's worked with directly, but I can tell you from experience that he's on the phone more than, an operator, because people will call and ask him questions, and they know that they can count on Steve to give him the correct answer or at least lead them in the right direction. So maybe not, mentee by working with them, but always being able to provide
To be there for people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
provides support for them. I can tell you that, just this is how lucky I know I am, because so many people come up and they'll say, I really want to work with you, Steve. I want to work with you. Well, he's kind of taken, right? So as his sister calls me, I'm his work wife. My wife says he's my work wife. I mean, that's just, I mean, it's kind of hard. You guys know how it is. Your schedules are set so far in advance, and it's a lot easier for people to say, okay, so we're going to send Steve and Steve there, and then that's covered.
Right.
So if you know that you've got it, they're going to cover it already. So people do come up and want to work with him. So he'll boot me out of the car every once in a while for people, but I've been really blessed, not just through the officiating world, but I mean, like, I look at Steve as a father figure for me. He talked about his 4 kids that he has biologically, but I've told him time and time again that he's been like a father figure for me. I try to raise my kids the way that I see he does things, and I mean, I'm not afraid to admit, I've told him I love him. I mean, there's a lot of times that, like growing up, I didn't have a father in my life, and, this is how it's supposed to be. And so, yeah, I mean, he's had a lot of people that he's led in the right direction, maybe not working with directly, but, they know they can count on him for the right answer or the direction.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, you almost put me to tears too.
No.
I mean, just
Sorry,
took me down,
that was
man.
not the intention. But
So everything got serious.
But that's real talk, though. That's real. And that, we were talking about it before the show. That's one thing about officiating. A lot of people don't understand is the camaraderie that we gain coming into this profession.
Right.
Yeah.
You're going to say something, aren't you?
No.
Oh, you weren't? You had that. You fixing your mouth like you had something to say.
The other thing, on the camaraderie about it is, I may only see somebody during basketball season.
Yeah.
But, and so then from basketball season until the next season, but we pick right back up
where we
left off. And it's just like, granted, things have happened, throughout those other 9 months, but, it's like we can just pick right back up again and just like, hey, I just saw you yesterday, so it's kind of nice in that respect.
I remember the first time I met Crane was at Huntington North. We did a freshman match together, and he didn't say hardly anything. He was real quiet, and so like I'm very intimidated. I mean, this guy, I mean, he's over a foot taller than me. He's like, like I'm like, what did I do to upset this guy yet? I just walked in the gym, and then the next time I seen him, he was, a little more, like he cracked that shell off, and I probably said a few things, trying to break the ice, and then every time I see him now I see you at a game, and I don't like hesitate to come up and say something, and you'll ask me how things are going, and it could be like you say, the first time I've seen him in a year, and it's not, it's not that I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's a jerk. It was just like, how do you, approach someone like that?
Well, he was probably super nervous himself, because volleyball was not his thing.
How long ago was this, Steve?
It would have been my first season, so it was probably six years ago, I'd say, 5 or 6 years ago.
So he was still,
I was still kind of green.
Yeah, you were still very insecure.
Yeah, because I'm probably with my 12th volleyball season, something like
Probably.
that.
And I remember I offered to go up, and I went up, and as soon as the match was over, he had his bag, and he was like walking out as I'm walking across. I'm like, okay,
that does not
was
sound
fun.
like him at all.
But now I can see you out, and it's it's like like you were saying, the camaraderie is like different. And
you guys said something earlier. I don't know which one of you said it, but I think you were talking about how he got you into it, and he was saying, we're really short. I remember when you said that, and I thought to myself, wow, How long ago was that? And we're still saying that to people. Why'd you come into basketball or volleyball or soccer? Because we're really short.
Right.
That seems to be the going thing for officiating all the time, is we're always short. And why do you guys think that is? Why do you think that we're always short of officials?
When you go back, I think one is officials now don't want to pay their dues like we did years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you were working 5 or 6 years or so before you got a varsity game.
Yeah.
You know, now everybody wants varsity their first or second year.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And the thing was,
Entitlement.
you know, I always remember, the mistakes that I was making at junior high or freshman level. Now these guys are going to be making at the varsity level.
Yes.
And coaches are a lot less forgiving at the varsity level.
Yes.
Very much so.
And so then they may get chewed out in that and get out of it, or some of them are moving on to college.
That amazes me that so many people think that our job is easy to do. That amazes me.
I remember, it's probably been 15, 20 years ago, Hank Nichols was in charge of the NCAA men's officials, and they kept running the same commercial, throughout the entire NCAA tourney. And the one comment he made was, it's the only profession that he knows of that you have to start out perfect and improve from there.
Yes, sir. That is very true.
Yeah.
It amazes me.
And that's what they expect out of you.
Yeah.
They expect you to start out perfect and then get better.
Yeah.
It's like, are you perfect at coaching?
And I remember something Tanya said one time, and maybe she heard it from somewhere else, but she said, these people that come in here and yell at us during the game, I need to find out where they work, and I need to go there, their work, and yell at them the whole time. You are doing that terrible. You suck. You did. And it's like, wow, I never thought of that. But that people come into the matches think they can just talk any way they want to officials.
I remember Schenkel used to say, well, at least if they're yelling at us, they're not at home beating their wives.
Wow. Wow.
I think part of the problem also is the number of teams has grown exponentially since we were all younger and
That's
just
true.
Starting out.
Yeah.
So
Now you
it's
got
not
AAU
just
and,
I mean it's not just the fact that you don't have enough officials.
Yeah.
Because you may have the same number of officials, but when you have more teams, just looking at the high school level, you may have a freshman team, a JV team, a varsity team, in several different sports. So now you're trying to take your 10 officials you have and spread them out over 3 teams rather than,
That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that, but because the sports have expanded dramatically when it went to class sports. And when that happened, then each class started having their own special tournaments too, on certain off-school dates or whatever. So you're right. The number of contests in every sport has increased.
Yes.
I never thought about that, but that's a good reason why we're still short of officials.
Well, now we just added, we just added boys volleyball and then girls wrestling.
And girls football,
And
flag
girls
football.
flag football. And so with that, now we're looking at where you may have been doing something in that sport, in that season, that spring season where we have boys volleyball now. Now you're looking, well, I'm a volleyball official too. So do I do softball or do I go take a volleyball game? So now
I do softball.
you go do it.
I choose softball, but yes, I mean that's a great point. And that's something I thought about. Is you have, your shortage is in baseball, and now you in softball. During that spring sport, now you're throwing on boys volleyball,
Right.
where a lot of us do girls volleyball. These girls volleyballs are also boys volleyball.
Because for
officials.
me, it was nice. I do my fall, which is girls volleyball. Then I do girls and boys basketball during the winter. Now I have a 3rd season because now I do the boys volleyball. And so it's like, I'm a 3 seasons, official now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, when basketball was over in late January, February, it was like, okay, now what am I going to do?
But it's kind of a hard juggle for us too, because just today I was telling her I got another phone call from somebody who said he texted me, then he called me and said, hey Crane, I think I'm about ready to pick up the whistle now. And I've been trying to recruit this guy for the last 6 years. And he finally called me up and I said, so we talked, and I said, are you done playing? He goes, yeah, I still play on the side, but my job has changed and now he's ready to pick up the whistle. And with that, I'm bringing that up because of our referee training school. We recruit and train people, so we got to squeeze that in too,
Right.
to help the void of officials, the lack of officials. And I tell you, it's tough trying to figure out a time that we can do a class, because our class lasts, 5 weeks for basketball and 4 weeks for volleyball.
Yep.
And then after that, we have to go into training, getting them on the court and spending time with them. And we don't want to just put them out there and let them train with anybody, because as you guys know, you work with some officials that you really don't want them trying to teach anybody else how to do,
Right.
do that particular sport.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful of that.
We got to do that. We do classroom training, and that's just not enough.
Right.
And for me, it's the same. Putting somebody on the court that has no classroom training, it doesn't. To me, it takes longer to learn.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, you can throw them in the fire and say, okay, go blow your whistle. But if they don't know the rules behind it, it makes it very difficult. And so, we're like, okay, we're going to do the classroom portion of it. So we give you classroom, we go through the rules, we talk about scenarios, we, give some history on, calls that we made and things that we did. We show video clips, things like that. Now let's put you on the court.
And we address all their misconceptions.
Yeah.
The guy I was talking to today, he says, well, I think I'm going to do all right because I got a pretty good grasp of all the rules I've been playing since I was 10. I just started laughing. And he started laughing. He goes, yeah, that tells me I got a lot to learn. I said, oh, it's going to be fun teaching you. Because he's played at, I think he might have played at the highest level. And that's funny because we've had 2 guys come through our class who both played pro basketball. And they both failed the test. The high school test. Twice.
Wow.
And the reason is because we kept telling them during the class, because they would always make assumptions. They're like, oh, well, that's a pro rule. That doesn't exist in high school. And they go, well, why not? It doesn't matter. It doesn't exist in high school. You have to get your mind off pro. And we just had a guy, Gary, just came through our class. He played pro. And he's still, he's on the court now. He just got done his court training in basketball. But it's funny watching him because I can see a lot of the decisions he's making are based on pro. And I'm standing behind him when I'm coaching.
I think a lot of it, not so much pro, but more from a player coach standpoint.
Because he's still coaching.
Because in his mind, he's still a coach.
Yeah.
He's still in that training mode. So the whole time he's out there officiating, he's like, "Ooh, number one, like you can do this and you can do that," and I'm like,
"You're not
we
a coach
are not
right now.
evaluating these players." Like,
But he is.
But he is, and I'm like, you need to get out of that mode because that's not your job right now. Your job right now, it's just like if I were a doctor or a nurse. Well, on the court, I'm not a doctor or a nurse. I'm an official. So if somebody gets hurt, I'm an official. It is not my job to come to, and obviously if it's nobody else is in the building can help or whatever, but, so we have to separate ourselves from that, when we are on the court. And so I'm like trying to tell him, like, you can't keep doing this.
And I think in basketball, the hardest thing for a new official is to watch off ball.
Oh,
Sure.
absolutely.
Because as a fan, you're always following the ball the entire game.
Yep.
And in basketball, you've got to learn to watch off ball and trust your partner to cover their area.
You always know when you're working with a newbie in basketball.
Or they'll be watching the kid take a shot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, why are you watching the ball? What do you mean? Stop being a ball
You
watcher.
didn't just see that kid get thrown to the floor, because you're busy watching the ball.
Didn't you just see that elbow over here? What elbow? That's my point. But you're right, because we teach people that when you come into officiating, the BWs, we like to call them ball watchers, there are 3 people: the coaches, the fans, and the players are all ball watchers. But when you step up to officiating, you're exactly right. It's hard to step out of that mode when you've always been trained to watch wherever the ball goes. And all of a sudden now you got to watch the players. It's boring. Well, okay, but that's the job.
Yeah.
So we
You
talked
got
about
any questions for Steve?
Yeah.
Steve-O?
Steve-O. Question.
Yeah.
Because we only got about 4 minutes. So Steve-O. See, Steve, he waited till the last minute, so he gets to slip out of some of this. Let me see.
He might know the answer, though.
He might. Stop looking, man. See this is basketball. So if a mistake has been made and an umpire is still on the floor at the end of the game, he or she may call the referee back to make the correction. True or false?
Well, it's true, because until you leave you approve the final score when you left the vicinity of the floor. So as long as you're still on the floor, you can correct something.
See that ding ding ding, you got the question right. That's
no.
a trainer. That's a mentor right there.
That's what I'm talking about.
He has to give the
though. See,
detailed
he doesn't
explanation.
He doesn't just give the true.
He's got to
false.
give the
He
whole
gives the
detail.
reason behind it.
Yes,
See,
he does.
that is awesome right
Get you
there.
some candy, man.
There we go.
I've been over here looking at him trying to figure out if I can
Rice
get one that
Krispies?
was stumping. I knew he was going to go after that Rice Krispie. That's why I said it in the head. I
Well,
knew
he
liked
took
Rice
my
Krispies.
You said you
peanuts.
wanted the
You
nuts.
like Rice Krispies. So he took your peanuts. All right. You only got 3 minutes left, so I'm going to give you guys one that you can both kind of ponder upon. Tanya, I saw you looking. Did you find a good one?
No, mine are all easy.
All right. Yours are all easy?
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think
let me
so.
try this one. Following a timeout or intermission, A1's free throw shall be administered even though Team B is not occupying each of the lane spaces adjacent to the end line. Is that true or false?
To start a period,
A1's
after a
free throw
timeout.
shall be
After a
administered. Yeah, following a timeout or intermission, A1's free throw shall be administered even though Team B is not occupying each of the lane spaces adjacent to the end line.
you want to do it first?
I believe that you will not administer it without the spaces being filled by the defense.
Okay, what I would say is you're gonna say the lead official is going to say 1 and 1 or 2 shots or whatever, and then you're going to bounce the ball to the shooter, and then you've got a delayed violation because the team B did not occupy. And if they miss it, then you're going to reshoot it, whether it's a 1 and 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. And if they make it, then you just move on to the next one or take it out of bounds.
And then I was even thinking, what if it's technical? Technical free throws. Right
Well,
after.
they don't
Well, they wouldn't be on an occupied.
But I'm saying, following a timeout or intermission, you could have a technical.
Yeah, but that's not what that's asking.
We were going based on what you said.
Yeah.
I took it a step further. Okay.
And the new rule for free throws was implemented a couple years ago. When do we shoot bonus now?
After 5 fouls in each quarter.
Yep. So on the 5th foul now we're shooting 2, and that starts over every quarter.
Resets.
So.
So, all right, Mr. Trainer, you get another piece of candy there. All right, so I think we're just about out of time. Sorry, I didn't have time to ask him some more questions.
That's
I
all
really
right.
stop them.
It was a lot of fun.
We only
yeah,
got 1 minute left.
We had great conversation.
Yes,
anyway.
we did.
But for
So-
those of you that are interested, we do have refereetrainingschool.com that you can check out. We will hopefully be getting that updated soon with new class dates. And of course, we have our Hoosier 3-on-3.
Yes, Hoosier, there it is. Hoosier 3-on-3. That is a 3-on-3 basketball tournament and leagues that we have for kids, 3rd grade through 12th grade. Our next one is coming up. It's called Hoosier Holiday Hoops. It's going to be December 30th. It's going to be at Turnstone. You want to get your kids signed up for that. That's 3-on-3. You can have up to 4 players. And the good thing about it is there will be referees on the court, but no coaching, Mom and Dad. No coaching. Kids,
And
you
it's
love to hear
indoors.
that. And it's indoors, Turnstone. Kids love to hear that. Mom and Dad are kind of like, that's right, no coaching. So with that, we want to we want to thank you to
Yes.
Steve's, and we're going to show the back of the shirts here in a minute. But was it Big Poppa and His Protege?
Yeah.
That is so unique. But thank you guys for coming. And,
Yeah, it was fun.
yeah, we'd love to have you guys
Yeah,
back
it was
sometime.
awesome.
And
Thank you.
we told you guys before the show, we always have a good time on RefTime. RefTime is a
And
lot
I
of
knew
fun.
you'd have plenty to say.
Plenty of
Oh, yeah.
stories.
Fill up the hour. So
Plenty of
Oh, yeah.
stories.
you have plenty of stories. In fact, you have stories we didn't even get to yet.
So with that, we're going to wrap up. Thanks for joining us
Thank
on
you.
RefTime. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.